were a lot of reactions, to the proposal of the NCC to enforce an increment in data tariff in the country. The National Assembly waded in following a lot of protests, some on social media. Some people took to the streets to protest, what the plan of the NCC was. The National Assembly came in to say, the NCC should alter their plans until they do what they called further consultations with a lot of stakeholders. Now, when you look at a lot of variables, when you look at the economic situation in the country, when you look at the tariff charged by telecom operators in other parts of the country. For example, I did see someone talking about a lot of money for data tariff in countries like Ghana and the likes. When you put all these variables together, was the NTC right to have thought about an increment in data price?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, there's something very peculiar about the Nigerian government, and that is putting the cart before the horse. Well, when I was a student union president, I was privileged to know the processes it takes before you as a student leader engage in any protest or declaring a cause for action. There's what they call consultation and there's what they call consolidation. The first stage, what the NCC want to do now, that they said they want to consult all necessary stakeholders, bring people together, reason about it, discuss it, ought to have been done earlier before saying it out to the general public or proposing it that there will be an hike or an increase in data tariff. They failed in that aspect. Well, that has always been their approach years back. But now they brought it. I thank Nigeria, and I'm very happy that Nigerians are now getting more active and proactive to issues. Before, when issues come out like that from the federal government, you just see people folding their arms. Well, I don't use data, I don't browse. Even if I browse, I have money to buy data. What's my business? I don't care. That's what some people say. But now, people came on board to challenge the status quo, and they went back. Well, considering other countries, what they pay for data, well, I'll tell you, a government will have the courage, the boldness to tax its subject, citizens, when there is a very good mutual understanding and the social contract theory is working effectively between the government and the governed. You understand? Fine, the government cannot boldly say, this is what these people are gaining from us. For example, we have a lot of graduates there who graduated from the university, finished their NYSC without getting any job from the federal government, the state government, and even the local government. That's what those ones are there. They just manage to get some few amount of money, go online, do some internet businesses. ICT is just coming on board. You now tell those kind of people that they should believe in any policy of the government, taxing them, not giving them anything on board. So if other countries, those things have been successful, the federal government of Nigeria should look at those countries and see how responsible the government of those countries are before introducing those policies.
Well, I think the issue of tax on communication, that is something else entirely. We will, of course, get to that eventually. But the Minister of Communication, was reported to have said that he got the news, just like you and I. He said the NCC, must have had a reason, for you're bringing up a policy like this, which the NCC did give some reasons. They said that it was going to be an opportunity for a level playing ground amongst the operators. They said they were trying to give an opportunity for small operators in the business, to run their businesses properly. Well,
you understand? That is academic, not even business now. For example, I'm into internet businesses. You understand? I do bulk SMS. I do a lot of things. Now tell me, if I don't have access to internet, how will I attend to my customers who are patronizing me? The profit I see on those businesses are just mega profits. Okay. That will not afford me to buy data at expensive rate. That means government has not provided me a job. And the little I could do, because I don't want to be a lazy man, will be taken away from me indirectly because the data tariff has been hiked.
Well, of course, you're talking about a lot of different sectors that will be affected by this. And this was, this was the sentiment of a lot of people. There was no due consultation, done before this policy was, before there was, before the telecom operators were told about an increment in data hike. And this was the reason, the National Assembly waded into the issue and said that, halt those plans for now. Do proper consultations, and then we can talk about this. Now, the worry is that are we not looking at a situation? Remember, some years ago there was going to be an increment of fuel price. A lot of Nigerians, took to the streets, protested against it. Right now, fuel price has been increased. A lot of people argue that it was later, when certain things became clear to Nigerians, that we felt, oh, maybe we don't have a choice than to accept this. Is this not going to be another situation in that, in that line? The National Assembly has said, do a proper consultation. What happens when that consultation is done and the NCC still says that the way forward for the telecommunication sector is the increment in data tariff?
I said something the other time. I said the federal government is not responsible. You see, the government is always very ready to make out the citizens. The Nigerian government.
But they were ready to wait in to halt the plans.
If you remember, before the fuel price was fixed at 145, we were told a lot of stories. We were given a lot of fat promises that as soon as they remove subsidy, as soon as they do this, things will be cheaper, this will happen. Those people who are eating the money, who are corrupt individuals in the business, you understand, they will be apprehended. This will happen. We are still, it has not come to
soon is
see,
relative.
The promises of the federal government will be the same as the coming soon stated in the Bible, of this coming soon of Jesus Christ stated in the Bible. My great grandfathers have died. Yes, I came on board to still know that Jesus is still coming soon. That is the soon of the federal government. So why can't this government wake up to responsibility and just say, fine, let us do one policy, just one, that will help these citizens. We've not seen. I'm expecting a time that one of the government officials will have a very close interview like this, live interview with me, that will now ask, will analyze what they've done in their first year in office. We campaigned for them. We brought them into power. You understand? During the campaign period, we were promised millions of jobs in their first year. Let me tell you where they are getting it wrong. When the Minister of Power came on board, the first thing he said, the first statement he said was that if Nigerians would want to enjoy power, uninterrupted power supply, we must be ready to pay. That was the first statement he said. After him, the Minister of Petroleum also came, that we must be ready to pay more. After that, NCC is now saying his own. Others have also said theirs. That will tell you, was it not the same country we were when those things were cheaper? They were coming with change. Is it negative change? You understand? Well, so what I'm trying to drive at now is that they've come with the data policy where, I like your position, you said, what if after those consultations have been made, they now come up with a position that there is no two-way about it, this thing has to be increased. You understand? Nigerians are getting used to that, but we will not continuously allow that. Are you getting it now? Because the moment we start to keep quiet, that is the day our voice will not be heard and we will not be liberated. The oppressor will not discuss the freedom of the oppressed with the oppressed.
Anyway,
it is the oppressed that will discuss his own freedom
with the oppressor.
In all the forms he or she knows. Well, that is why I talked about the 3 C's of activism: consultation, consolidation, and confrontation. We took to the street last week. We demonstrated, we were interviewed and all, and got so good. That was the last day of November. On the first, the following day, we heard the good news that there was nothing going to affect the data tariff and all. We were happy, but we've not still lost our guard. We are still on board to still challenge any draconian rule by this, because this government up to today, we have a lot of people that will be passing out from the NYSC in a few months' time now. what is the job placement put in place for them?
Very quickly, I think the fact that the NCC altered their plans, might not necessarily be tied to a lot of protests, that were done. Maybe, there was a real thought about this, and they felt the need to do what they call proper consultation. Very quickly, before we go on the program, there is still the issue of the communication tax, which is, in the National Assembly. Someone obviously has to give the people, the government or the NCC. How would you advise the NCC to achieve all these aims that they, say they hope to achieve with increment data tariff without actually increasing data tariff?
Yeah, thank you. You see, the Nigerian system, the system of government we are operating now, we are not taking our time to develop the arms of government that we have. And when we fail to develop the arms of government, when the judiciary is not active enough to tame the legislators and the executive, we call them legislators and the executives, the system will not be strong enough. Look at the UK. When I was in the UK, I was there for a few weeks, and I discovered that there was no day, no minute that the power was interrupted. My uncle told me that everything I'm seeing like this, we pay. I said, wow. But if you pay and you are seeing the services, it is fine. You'll be ready to pay. Because when you pay, you get power, you get everything. But in the case of Nigeria, you pay, you won't still get it. Are you getting it now? Now, upon the fact that we pay 145 naira per liter of petroleum, there are people who still sell petroleum that are not good, that still spoil cars, generators, a lot of things, and are not even up to 1 liter. You understand? At the rates they sell. So that to tell you that what we should pay attention to, the system itself is not working. How do you now expect to build a house on a foundation that is not solid? The house will collapse. Why can't they let the system work first? But with the belief of Nigerians is that in whichever way we are taxed, if we are taxed today, the money is not coming back to the system. It's going to the pocket of some few people. That is why Nigerians are not always ready, rather, to pay any tax to any government. Because we've been paying the tax. Look at this building as you are seeing it. It was built during the Western region. This Cocoa Mall was built during that period. And the economy of this country then was not as buoyant as what we have now. So I've not seen any government or any governor in the Southwest that has built something as big, as mighty as this, as economically influential as this, ever since they started this democracy.
As much as I would have loved us to continue this discussion, time really is not on our side. But I get that your point is that, if we